Discovered. Millionaire's heartwarming reaction to a struggling cleaner and her baby in the rain. Mia stood at the bus stop, drenched from the relentless rain that had turned downtown Chicago into a dreary watercolor painting. The air was thick with the scent of wet concrete and despair. Her little son Ethan whimpered in the stroller, his bright eyes mirroring her own heavy heart. Every day felt like a battle for survival, and this Tuesday was no different. She had to make it to her cleaning job to buy formula, but that felt like a monumental task under these circumstances. Drenched shoes squelching against the pavement, she wiped a stray tear away, refusing to let the cold seep into her spirit. Meanwhile, just a few blocks away, Darius stepped out of his black SUV, raincoat perfectly tailored, a stark contrast to Mia's struggle. The Millionaire CEO, dashing and composed, felt the familiar grip of scrutiny from his parents. They believed in keeping distance from those they deemed less fortunate. Darius shivered, both from the cold wind and his family's expectations. As he navigated the bustling sidewalks, a flash of red caught his eye. It was Mia, huddled against the downpour. That he moved closer, memories of his own beginnings whispering from the depths of his mind. He had once been her scraping by, filled with dreams and doubts. Watching her fight against the storm stirred something deep within him. He felt an urge to offer help, to breach the divide that wealth had placed between them. As he approached, she looked up, her face a mixture of surprise and defensiveness. "Hi," he said, forcing a smile that felt both unfamiliar and important. "Can I assist you?" Mia hesitated, her pride on the line. I just need to get to work," she replied, her voice steady but her expression betraying her vulnerability. Darius stepped forward, heart racing in a way that lunchtime board meetings never did. "I own a company nearby. Would you like a job? I need a custodian, and I can promise you decent pay." His words were like a warm light breaking through a stormy sky, igniting hope. The rain drummed on, but for a moment, she felt protected. "You'd really do that for me?" she asked, disbelief etched into her face. "Yes," he breathed, "we need good people. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Darius could see the wheels turning in Mia's mind, the weight of decisions to be made. Yet as their conversation unfolded, whispers of doubt emerged from his privileged circle. Friends would scoff at his choice, label Mia as another statistic. The more Darius clung to his intention, the more pressure he felt from those who had never shared a struggle. As he walked away, a battle raged in him. Should he stand up to his family's narrow-mindedness or retreat to comfort? For Mia, the spark of opportunity dangled before her like a lifeline, but it came with a risk. She thought of Ethan, of dreams yet uncharted. Their lives were changing, and as the clouds above tried to extinguish their flames, both knew they stood at a crossroads. Would Darius embrace his inner ally or retreat into the shadows of his privilege? Would Mia rise above her circumstances or remain shackled by them? This was only the beginning, as their intertwined fates had yet to unfold. Mia stood at the bus stop, sensation hammered by the cold rain draping her like an uncomfortable blanket. Still, sparks of a thought flickered through her mind. A job offer? From a suit as polished as Darius? Was he just another rich man with an agenda? Yet, her stomach twisted with the unmistakable knot of hope intertwined with fear. Her thoughts slipped back to Ethan, sleeping fitfully in the stroller, his little face cherubic yet solemn. She had to think of him. Could she afford to be proud now? Could she let this man step in, even if it meant moving beyond her defenses? The weight of her struggles pressed against her like the damp air, leaving her breathless. As the rain continued to pour, Darius felt more determined than ever. He looked back at her, considering his next words. "I know this might feel strange," he said, trying to connect through the chaos of the storm. But I believe we can help each other. Mia's gaze softened. The sincerity in his eyes sparked a hesitant trust. You don't know anything about me, she countered, her voice faltering but fierce. How do I know you're for real? Darius took a step closer, evening the distance between them. I grew up not far from here. I've faced my share of hardships. That drastic change doesn't happen overnight, he said, echoing the resilience she felt deep inside. I want to help because I know how it feels. Just like that, Mia felt a wall crack. She searched his face for hidden motives, and all she saw was honesty wrapped in vulnerability. Would this chance mean freedom? Or was it merely wishful thinking? Meanwhile, Darius was feeling the weight of it all too. Was he ready to face the backlash from his circle, the inevitable judgment? Yet, could he really walk away from someone truly in need? This moment changed everything for him. The stark contrast between their worlds hit him squarely, urging him to leap beyond privilege. As Mia reluctantly nodded, the sound of thunder grumbled overhead, a reminder of the gathering storms outside and within. Okay, she whispered, clutching the straps of Ethan's stroller tightly. Let's say I agree. What does that mean for Ethan and me? It means you can start tomorrow, Darius replied, his smile breaking through the gray skies. I'll help with every step. Hope hung thickly in the air between them, urging them both to take that leap. But what felt like a safe harbinger was marred by an unshakable undercurrent of tension. As the rain continued to beat down, Mia's heart drummed alongside it, fueled by doubt fighting against the tide of optimism. Have you ever worked as a custodian? Darius asked, curious about her past. Mia's face darkened for a moment. I've done many things, just never in one place long enough to make them count. The pain in her voice was palpable. Darius felt his resolve strengthen. Then let's make this count together. The storm lingered, but their connection had sparked something powerful. Both knew this was where their change began, but not every change comes without cost. That nagging thought crawled under the surface: what would happen once the rain stopped? Would they weather the storms they both faced, or would doubt swallow them whole? With Ethan stirring at last, Mia glanced up at Darius again, uncertain yet hopeful. What if I can't do it? She asked, a tremor in her voice betraying her internal struggle. Darius leaned closer, his expression earnest. Then we'll figure it out together. But in the depths of their hearts, doubts floated like dark clouds on the horizon. They stood on the edge of possibility, but what if the shadows around them grew darker instead? As rain continued to spill from the heavens, little did they know that the real storm of challenges awaited just beyond the corner of hope, a storm that could either bind them together or pull them apart entirely. The rain slowed to a gentle drizzle, each drop a reminder of the conversations yet to unfold. Darius, now standing closer, drew a deep breath, the chill of the air mingling with the warmth of his intentions. Let's get out of this rain, he suggested, glancing around for shelter. There's a cafe just a block away. Mia nodded, still grappling with a mixture of disbelief and gratitude. The weight of the moment settled on her shoulders. As they maneuvered through puddles, she stole glimpses of him, seeing the man behind the polished exterior. Somehow, he felt safe, even in unknown territory. When they finally stepped inside the cozy cafe, the warm air embraced them like a soft blanket. They found a small corner table, tucked away from the hustle of customers ordering coffee and pastries. Darius gestured for Mia to take a seat. As she slid into the chair, Ethan's little hand emerged from the stroller, reaching for his mother. She automatically grasped it, feeling a surge of love and protectiveness wash over her. Darius ordered 2 steaming cups of coffee and a piece of cake to share. It felt surreal sitting there in that small cafe, a million thoughts swirling in her head. Could she really trust this man? I know it's a lot to take in, Darius started, his expression earnest. I don't expect you to decide everything right now. But I genuinely want to help. I see potential in you. Mia chuckled softly, the sound tinged with skepticism. Potential? All I see are a series of mistakes and wrong turns. Those are steps, not failures, he countered. Every experience shapes who we are. Please don't underestimate your journey. His words felt like a lifeline. Yet, at the same time, fears crept in. What if he was just building her up to knock her down later? What if she couldn't meet his expectations? The shadows of her past whispered warnings, reminding her of all those who had promised to help but only left her feeling more alone. The coffee arrived, warm and inviting. Darius took a sip but quickly returned his attention to her. Tell me about Ethan. He's your world, isn't he? Mia's heart swelled at the mention of her son. He is everything, she said, glancing lovingly at the small figure. He gives me strength. Darius watched her, his eyes softening at the love evident in her voice. In that moment, he realized how deeply parental love could drive someone to overcome even the toughest of circumstances. Mia shifted uncomfortably as her heart spoke louder than her thoughts. But what if I fail him? A shadow of fear crossed her face, fear of repeating her own childhood mistakes. What if this opportunity turns into yet another dead end? Then we adapt, Darius replied firmly, yet gently. And we learn. I want to let you go through it alone. You have to believe that choosing to move forward will lead you somewhere better. Tears threatened to spill from Mia's eyes, a blend of relief and doubt crashing against her like a tide. She wanted to believe him. But faith was a heavy burden when past choices loomed large. I don't know if I can trust again, she admitted, her voice shaky. Trust takes time, he assured her. I'm not asking for all of it at once. Just take it step by step. And know that I'm here. I meant what I said about wanting to help. The sincerity in his voice calmed the raging storm inside her heart. Just then, Ethan let out a soft coo, his tiny face lighting up with curiosity. Mia instinctively smiled back at him, her worries momentarily pushed aside. But as they sat there sharing glances of nascent hope, a shadow moved past the window, a figure familiar yet unsettling. Mia's heart raced, and she instinctively clutched Ethan closer. She recognized him instantly, her past looming large once more, threatening to unravel the fragile bond she was forming with Darius. What if he was here to ruin everything? What would he do when he found out? Darius followed her gaze, brow furrowing in concern. Mia, what's wrong? She clenched her teeth, the walls she had begun to lower rising again. We need to talk, and fast. The cafe now felt like a fragile bubble in a storm, threatening to burst. As tension crackled in the air around them, Mia wondered if her past would crush this new beginning before it even had a chance to bloom. Mia's heart thudded painfully in her chest as she watched the figure linger outside the cafe, his silhouette dark and foreboding against the dimly lit street. It wasn't just any figure, it was Mark, her ex. The man who had made promises but only delivered chaos. She felt a wave of nausea as she struggled to remember the good times, clouded instead by the pain and disappointment he had left in his wake. Mia. Darius's voice pulled her back into the present, concern etched into his features. What is going on? How could she explain? How could she force the words past her throat without breaking down? She had fought so hard to create a safe space for her and Ethan, one she'd been building with Darius's quiet determination wrapping around her like a shield. But now, the very darkness she'd run from was draping itself over them like a heavy cloak. It's him, she managed to whisper, her voice trembling. Mark is here. Darius's gaze sharpened, his protective instincts kicking in. Are you sure? Do you want me to go confront him? No. Mia's response was quick and fierce, her pulse racing. I can't do this. Not here. She glanced desperately at Ethan, who was blissfully unaware of the turbulence brewing around him. What if he tries to take Ethan? I can't let him do that. Mia, listen. Darius leaned in closer, an intensity in his eyes that felt both reassuring and alarming. You're stronger than you give yourself credit for. We can figure this out together. But you have to trust me. The warmth in Darius's voice cut through her panic, but the fear of confrontation still gripped her heart. What if he gets violent? I've seen that side of him before. I don't want Ethan exposed to that. Darius nodded, understanding washing over his features. Then let us act like we're not here. We can slip out the back. It's better to avoid any conflict. Mia felt a rush of gratitude mixed with fear. Was she really ready to run from her past? But as she looked through the window, Mark's presence loomed larger, and she knew she couldn't let him intimidate her anymore. Not when she had Ethan a reason to fight. Okay, let us go, she said, her conviction hardening her voice. But we can't let him see us. Holding Ethan tightly, she took a deep breath and followed Darius as they quietly made their way to the cafe's rear exit. Outside, the rain had slowed to a mist, offering a strange kind of cover. The smell of damp earth filled the air, grounding her in the moment that as they stepped onto the alley behind the cafe. Darius glanced around, ensuring the coast was clear. We can head down this street and lose him in the crowd if necessary, he urged. Mia nodded, her heart still racing as she kept one eye on the cafe entrance. Was Mark looking to stir up trouble? She felt the weight in her chest lift slightly at the thought of Darius standing by her side, ready to shield her and protect Ethan. Just as they began to walk away, the sound of a shout broke through the gentle ambient noise. Mia! Where are you? It was Mark, his voice intent and sharper than the autumn chill they'd left behind. That instant, a jolt of panic surged through Mia. She felt cornered, like a trapped animal. We have to hurry, she implored, her words catching in her throat. Darius grabbed her hand, urgency fueling his grip as they broke into a run. The warmth of his touch sent sparks down her spine, a reminder that there was still hope. Somewhere in the chaos, there was safety in him. But as they cut through the alley, Mia's mind raced with questions. Was this truly the end of her past or just the beginning of a larger fight? As they emerged onto a busier street, she turned to Darius, breathless. What do we do now? Those words hung heavily in the air, resonating between them like an unresolved note in a song. Whatever lay ahead, it would demand more than just distance from Mark. It would require confronting her demons, standing her ground, and proving that the life she wanted was waiting just beyond the fog. But could she do it? Would Darius be able to stand next to her through it all? The answer loomed ahead as uncertainty shadowed their path, igniting a resolve within Mia that she hadn't felt in years. Only time would tell whether courage would turn into victory, or terror would pull her back into the darkness she was fighting so hard to escape. Mia's heart raced as she scanned the bustling street, the sounds of distant laughter and honking horns creating a chaotic soundtrack to her mounting anxiety. Darius held her hand tight, a lifeline in a sea of uncertainty. The crowd moved around them, faces oblivious to the tempest brewing at the edges of her sanity. What's our next move? She asked, urgency in her voice. Clutching Ethan, she felt him stir, oblivious to the danger lurking just behind them. For now, we blend in. Let us keep walking, Darius suggested, his voice steady. He guided her deeper into the throng, where people milled about, and the lights of the city twinkled like stars above the darkened streets. Mia tried to focus on the warmth of Darius's hand, but her mind was racing with memories of betrayal and fear. Mark was unpredictable, and the thought of him finding them made her skin crawl. Do you think he'll look for us here? In this crowd? Maybe. But we can't give him the chance. Just keep moving. His confidence was a balm to her fraying nerves. They moved past a street vendor selling pretzels, the scent wafting through the air momentarily distracting her. It seemed ridiculous, but she suddenly realized how long it had been since she felt like she could enjoy a moment. Eating food that was hot and greasy felt so far removed from the tension that had been her life. Do you want anything? Darius asked, noticing her distracted gaze. No, she said, shaking her head. I just want to feel safe. Then let us find a place to sit for a minute. We can figure things out, just breathe. Darius's steady presence calmed the raging storm inside her. After a few moments, they spotted a nearby park. The trees stood tall, their leaves shimmering from the earlier rain, creating a picturesque hideaway. That looks good, Mia said, her heart settling slightly. They stepped into the park, their pace slowing as they found a bench. Once seated, Mia cradled Ethan against her chest, brushing his hair back and smiling at his sleepy face. It was moments like these that reminded her why she was fighting so hard. As Darius pulled out his phone to check for messages, a sudden noise drew Mia's attention. A group of children dashed by, laughing and splashing in the small puddles left by the rain. Their laughter reminded her of simpler times, a bittersweet pang hitting her heart. Mia. Darius's voice broke through her reverie. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine, she replied too quickly, trying to mask the emotions threatening to spill over. Just thinking. About Mark? She hesitated. It's hard not to. Darius leaned closer. Remember what we talked about? You've worked so hard to change your life, and you deserve to keep it that way. Mark has no power over you. His words wrapped around her like a warm blanket, but doubt still lingered. What if he finds us again? What if he tries to hurt us? Then we'll handle it together. You're not alone in this. A fleeting moment of serenity washed over her, but it was short-lived as a sickening thought crept in. What if Mark was nearby, using this moment of vulnerability to strike? Just then, a shadow crossed her vision. Mia's breath caught in her throat as she turned to see a figure standing a few feet away. Her heart dropped. It was Mark, his expression darkening as he locked eyes with her. Thought you could run from me? He sneered, the danger in his voice unmistakable. Panic surged through her, and the world around her dimmed, leaving only the two of them. Would this moment shatter the fragile sense of safety she and Darius had built? As Mark took a step closer, Darius immediately stood, a protective stance emerging. You need to leave her alone. The tension crackled like electricity, and Mia felt her heart pounding against her ribs, dread and fury colliding within her. This was not going to end well, but Mia knew that she had to stand her ground. Are you ready to fight for your future? Darius whispered, determination lighting his gaze, and in that charged instant, with time slowing, Mia realized she had a choice. Today could be the day they put an end to her past. Or the day it consumed her whole. With Mark closing in, Mia prepared to confront the fear that had loomed over her for far too long. She took a deep breath, steeling herself. Could she find the strength to face him and finally break free? As the distance between them evaporated, she felt the weight of everything pushing her forward, pulling her into a battle she knew had to happen. Would she rise, or would she fall? The stakes had never felt higher as she prepared to take her stand. Mia's heart thudded fiercely in her chest, every beat echoing the fear coursing through her veins. Mark's presence loomed over her like a dark cloud, threatening to engulf everything she fought so hard to protect. As Darius stood firm beside her, his resolve gave her a flicker of hope. Back off, Mark, Darius said, his voice low but firm, a shield against the chaos threatening to unfold. Mark shrugged, his expression concealing a smirk. What is he going to do? Play the hero? He took another step closer, his eyes shifting between Mia and Darius. Still the same weak girl running away from her problems, huh? With each word, Mia felt the fire inside her stoke. She wasn't that girl anymore. She had a life to protect, a son who looked to her for strength. This isn't your life anymore, Mark. Her voice trembled but held a commanding edge. You need to leave us alone. For the first time, Mark faltered, surprise flashing across his face. The anger faded, replaced by something darker. You think you can just forget about me? We have unfinished business. Darius stepped forward, physical tension thrumming in the space between them. There's nothing between you two except pain. It's time for you to walk away. Mia could see it now. Darius's determination was like armor against the past she had once felt bound to. She drew a deep breath, letting the weight of his support propel her forward. In the distance, laughter echoed from the children splashing in puddles, a sole reminder of the simple joy that had been her life before Mark's storm had swept in. "Ethan," she murmured, glancing down at her son, whose tiny face was scrunched in confusion. She smiled, trying to infuse warmth into the escalating situation. The innocent trust in his eyes broke through her fear like sunlight. She couldn't let Mark take this from her. "Why don't you go home, Mark?" she said, forcing authority into her voice. "You've lost. You don't get to haunt us anymore." Mark's eyes narrowed as anger seeped in. "You think you can just move on? You belong to me." But she had learned that words were empty without action. "No. You've only held on to my past. You're not welcome here." Just as she spoke, something shifted in the air. Darius took a step closer to her, the light behind him contrasting sharply with the darkness in Mark's expression. He nodded slightly, and Mia felt an unspoken agreement pass between them. Together, they could face this. Mark's laughter was bitter, tinged with disbelief. "You think you can fight me? You're fooling yourself." But Mia had learned to challenge the shadows. "I'm not afraid of you anymore." Her voice rang out, clear and strong. "I choose my future, and it doesn't include you." The silence that followed was deafening. Mark glared, and the tension became palpable, a storm brewing underneath the calm facade of the park. The energy around them shifted as other parkgoers began to notice, their heads turning, whispers traveling like wildfire. Darius glanced at the crowd, as if gauging the onlookers' reactions. "We should keep this public," he murmured to Mia. "It'll help." Taking a deep breath, she straightened her spine, feeling the power of knowing she was no longer alone. With the eyes of the bystanders on them, Mark's bravado wavered for just a heartbeat. "Leave!" Mia shouted, her voice breaking the oppressive weight of the moment. "You have no control over me." Mark's facade broke for an instant, revealing the uncertainty that crept into his eyes. Just as quickly, he masked it once more, a flicker of annoyance returning. "This isn't over," he spat, turning sharply and storming away. As he disappeared into the crowd, Mia let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding, her body trembling with adrenaline. Relief flooded her, but she wasn't naive. She knew this fight was far from over. "Are you okay?" Darius asked, concern etched on his face. Mia nodded slowly, her heart still racing. "I think I am, but let's not dwell on the but," he interrupted. "You took a stand today, and that's what matters." Hope sparked within her. "What if he comes back?" She voiced the fear. Swirling in her mind, Darius reached out, taking her hand again, stronger this time. "Then we'll be ready. Together." Mia felt that warmth pulse between them. No matter the future, she knew she had someone at her side, a partner against the darkness. But as they turned to leave the park, her phone buzzed violently in her pocket. A message? Her heart sank as she pulled it out and glanced at the screen. It was from Mark. "You can't run forever. I'll be waiting." Fear crept back, icy fingers wrapping around her heart. The battle might have been won, but war was never far away. Could she truly outmaneuver him this time? As Mia slipped the phone away, she glanced at Darius, determination flaring in her chest. What would it take to finally find peace? Mia's stomach twisted as the reality of Mark's message sank in. "I'll be waiting." Those words echoed in her mind, wrapping around her like a cold shroud. She wasn't just fighting for herself anymore, she was fighting for Ethan, too. What did he say? Darius's voice sliced through her thoughts, bringing her back to the present. There was a tightness around his eyes that spoke of his frustration at not being able to protect her. "It's nothing I can't handle," she replied, trying to sound brave. But the tremor in her voice gave her away. "Look at me, Mia." He turned her to face him, his gaze piercing through her bravado. "You don't have to go through this alone. I won't let him hurt you, either of you." She felt the warmth of his hand still gripping hers, the way it felt solid against the uncertainty that loomed. What if he really is waiting? What if he is planning something? Her mind raced back to their past, filled with memories of manipulations and fears. Darius sighed, drawing her closer. We prepare. We strategize. But most importantly, we don't let him intimidate us. You found your voice today. We can use that. Ethan's laughter pealed from a few feet away, splashing water as he stomped in a puddle, blissfully unaware of the troubles swirling around him. The sight filled Mia with warmth, a bittersweet reminder of what she was fighting for. What if I'm not strong enough? She whispered, her courage wavering beneath the weight of Mark's threat. Strength isn't just about being tough. Darius softened his grip, thumbs brushing her knuckles. It's about knowing when to ask for help, too. We'll face this together, Mia. I promise. His words wrapped around her like a protective shield, chasing away the shadows which seemed to threaten her peace. As the two of them watched Ethan revel in the rain-soaked chaos, Mia felt a surge of hope. Maybe together, they could find a way to confront Mark. Maybe they could devise a plan that would leave him with no power over their lives. She took a deep breath, steadying her heart. You're right, Mia said, her voice gaining strength. I can't let Mark dictate how I feel anymore. I've worked too hard to find a new path. They began walking towards Ethan, a small distance away but so far from the fears creeping at the edges of her mind. And I won't let him destroy what we have, she added. Their eyes met briefly, igniting a spark of determination shared between them. Let us get home, regroup and think of our next steps, Darius suggested softly. Mia nodded, feeling the release of emotions as she shifted into action mode. Just then, Ethan came running toward them, splashing through the puddles like a little whirlwind. Mom! Darius! Watch me! A smile broke across Mia's face, washing away the remnants of anxiety. She clapped for him, encouraging his spirit, and in that moment, she felt a flicker of the normalcy she craved, but as they gathered their things and walked toward the parking lot, Mia couldn't shake the cold grip of doubt. What would Mark do next? A shadow passed over them, and suddenly, Darius squeezed her hand tighter. We'll get through this, he reaffirmed, though a hint of concern flickered across his face. I know. But the weight of her words fell under the weight of unspoken fears. Just as they reached the car, a figure loomed on the edge of the lot, hidden partially by shadows of familiar silhouette. Mia's breath caught in her throat, panic threading through her veins. Is that? Darius started, eyes narrowing. Yes. The response escaped her lips in a chilling whisper. Mark. She and Darius stood frozen as the looming threat took a step forward, and Mia realized the turbulence wasn't over. What was he planning now? Would they be ready to face whatever game he had in mind? Time seemed to stop as Mark stepped into the light, his eyes fixed on Mia with an unsettling intensity. The world around her faded, the sound of raindrops splashing against pavement dulling into a low hum. Darius's grip on her hand tightened even more, a silent promise of protection that now felt impossibly fragile. Mia, Mark said, his voice smooth like melted butter, though it dripped with a sly edge. Did you think you could just walk away? He took another step forward, close enough that Mia could see the self-satisfaction etched into his features. Darius positioned himself slightly in front of Mia, creating a barrier against the threat. You need to leave. Now, he commanded, his voice firm and steady. Mark chuckled, as if the threat of Darius were little more than an annoyance. Oh, come on. We both know this is far from over. His gaze flickered to Ethan, who was still obliviously splashing in puddles, his joy untouched by the dark clouds gathering around them. In that moment of distraction, Mia's heart raced. She felt the urgency of protection blanket her. What if he tried to reach Ethan? Don't you dare talk to him, she shot back, her voice trembling but strong. You don't get to come into our lives and make threats. We've moved on. Moved on. Mark raised an eyebrow, taking another slow step closer. He appeared delightfully amused, as if the fear swirling inside her was nothing more than a game. Ah, sweet Mia. You can't honestly think you've escaped me, can you? Mia felt the walls closing in, desperation flaring like wildfire. Darius shifted again, a protective presence in the storm. She's not alone anymore. You can't control her, Mark. But Mark only laughed again, a low, mocking sound that echoed in the now still air. You think this is about control? This is about helping you understand the real world. Trust me, you'll want my foundation once the dust settles. A chill shot down Mia's spine. I'll never let you back in, Mark. You don't scare me anymore. Darius's hand entwined with hers, grounding her even as her heart raced in her chest. Let us go, Mia. He's not worth our time, he said, slowly moving them backward, trying to lead her away. But panic clutched at her. What if he follows us? What if he keeps coming back? The fear seeped into her voice. Mark's expression shifted slightly, an calculating interest overtaking the amusement. You're not the first to think of running, Mia, but trust me, the past has a way of catching up. Sooner or later it will. Just then, Ethan dashed toward them, cheeks flushed from the cold, droplets of water flying from his hair. Mom! Look at this puddle. Can we jump in? Innocent joy radiated from him, completely unaware of the turmoil unfolding just steps away. Mia's heart twisted. She couldn't let Mark taint this moment. Of course, sweetheart. She called, forcing a smile for Ethan's sake, though it felt like juggling weights in her heart. It was a brief shield against the encroaching darkness. Enjoy your time, Mia. I'll be waiting, Mark said again, emphasizing those final words. Mia turned her back on him, fear and anger battling in her chest as she focused on the radiant laughter of her son. Darius led her toward the car, an anchor amidst the chaos. You heard him. He's going to play games, Darius murmured, concern etched across his brow. We need to plan. But first, yes. We have to keep Ethan safe, keep him away from this madness. You're right, he can't be part of this. Not until we take care of it. Mia nodded, the weight of his words sinking in. How do we even begin? We start by finding out what his next move is. We've got this, Mia. But deep down in the pit of her stomach, the question gnawed at her. What lengths would Mark go to reclaim the power he once had? What game was he truly playing? Her heart pounded as she turned to Darius, the weight of love and fear mingling within her. What if he won't let us go that easily? With her stepping into the unknown, she could only hope they were ready for whatever came next. As they reached the car, Mia felt every beat of her heart echo as loudly as the thunder rumbling above. Darius opened the door for Ethan, who climbed inside, still laughing and playful, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing outside his innocent world. Mia couldn't shake the feeling of dread gnawing at her, sharp and relentless. Are you okay? Darius asked softly, watching her with concern etched into his features. She nodded, but the lie stuck in her throat. Just thinking about what he said. Darius exhaled, the force of his breath carrying the tension between them. We can't let him get to us. You've built a life for you and Ethan. That matters more than anything. Mia glanced at Ethan through the front windshield as he looked out at the rain pouring down. He's so happy, she whispered. I can't let Mark ruin this for him. He deserves to be free from all of this. Darius turned toward Mia, his gaze fierce. And he will be. We're in this together. We've fought for this life, Mia. Don't let Mark's words poison it. Fighting back the tears brimming in her eyes, Mia closed them briefly, trying to take in the warmth of Darius's words. But even though she tried to soak in his confidence, fear was persistent. What if he knows where we live? What if he stop? Darius interrupted gently. We have time to think this through. We can shore up security. Maybe even change routines, keep things unpredictable. We'll figure it out. She could see determination lighting his eyes, a flame strong enough to counter the chilling darkness that was Mark. Okay, she said softly, needing to believe. But we can't do it alone. We need to reach out, talk to someone who knows how he operates. Absolutely. I know just the person, Darius replied, his resolve solidifying. Mia forced a smile, grateful for Darius. It felt as if he was a lifeline, pulling her away from the depths of her worries. Just as he began to turn the key in the ignition, Ethan's voice chirped up from the back seat. Can we go get ice cream now? Please. Pretty please. Mia turned to see wide eyes sparkling with genuine hope, completely unfazed by the turmoil swirling around them. She couldn't help but laugh, the warmth spreading through her despite the tensions clinging to her heart. How about we finish jumping in those puddles first? Ethan practically squealed with excitement, a sound that sent a surge of love crashing through Mia. It was moments like this that reminded her why she fought so hard to reclaim their lives. But just as the heaviness started to lift, her phone buzzed violently against the dashboard. A message from an unexpected sender, Mark. Her stomach twisted as she swiped the screen, a chill creeping down her spine as the words formed. I hope you enjoyed yourself today. Just remember, I'll always be watching. Darius glanced over, concern flashing across his features. What's wrong? Mia swallowed, the weight of the message pressing on her like a stone. He just sent a message. What did it say? She hesitated, knowing that sharing the words would make them all the more real. But she didn't want to hide anything from him. He's watching us. Darius clenched his jaw, anger flaring behind his bright eyes. That bastard. Mia turned to him, her voice trembling. What if he knows more? What if he's south already too close? Darius's face hardened, layers of protection igniting. We'll take every step we can to keep you safe, promise. But this time, we must act. What if we reach out to the police? A restraining order, something. Her heart raced, urgency flooding her veins. It could just escalate things, Darius. What if Mark sees it as a challenge? We need a plan, he declared firmly. The moment hung between them, brimming with fear, love, and a flicker of determination. They had to be ready for whatever came next. With a deep breath, Mia nodded. Let us do it. Together. But as they sat in the car, the rain pounding on the roof as though competing with the storm in her heart, Mia couldn't ignore the gnawing feeling that something darker awaited just around the corner. What if Mark had a plan of his own? What would be his next move in this twisted game? In the days that followed, Mia and Darius fortified their defenses. Every morning, she woke early, slipping out of bed while Ethan still slept, and mapped out a strategy. Together, they contacted the local authorities, determined to leave no stone unturned. With Darius at her side, she felt bolstered against the haunting shadows of her past. Hey, we're doing this step by step, Darius reminded her one evening as they sat at the kitchen table, surrounded by scattered papers and coffee cups. You're so strong, Mia. We're making progress. Mia looked at him across the table, his encouragement wrapping around her like a warm blanket. I still can't shake the feeling that he's out there, she breathed, doubt creeping back. Then let us outsmart him, he proposed with intensity, his eyes flickering with determination. We'll be one step ahead. I believe in you. We're in this together. As the weeks passed, Mia felt the weight of responsibility fall squarely on her shoulders, but there was also a burgeoning sense of freedom. For the first time in a long time, she began to feel hope bloom within her. Each day, she took Ethan for walks, and the world outside began to shift. The soft sunlight broke through the clouds, casting warmth on their skin. Children played in the park, laughter echoing in the air, a sweet reminder of what life could be. One afternoon, as they strolled, she and Darius paused to watch Ethan splash gleefully in yet another puddle. Mia couldn't help but smile. He's happy, she said, watching the delight radiate from her son. Darius chuckled. Happy kids make for happy parents, right? But the joy was tinged with a lingering fear. Would she ever be completely free from Mark's grip? As if her thoughts had summoned him, Mia felt a chill sweep through her. Suddenly, she spotted a dark figure lurking on the edge of the park. Her heart raced as she squinted. "Darius," she whispered, her throat tight with unease. He turned, instantly tensing as he scanned the area. "Stay close to me," he warned softly, moving closer. "It's okay. Remember, we have a plan." But was it really okay? Mark's shadow felt endless, and though they had planned for this very moment a confrontation, Mia felt the weight of doubt thud in her chest. Just then, Mark stepped into the light, his familiar smirk twisting her stomach. "Oh, look who it is, the happy family," he called, his voice honeyed with mockery. "You really thought you could escape me?" Mia felt Darius stiffen beside her, grounding her as the waves of panic threatened to sweep her off her feet. "We're not afraid of you," Darius declared, stepping forward, a protector standing tall against a storm. "Not afraid?" Mark scoffed, his eyes glinting with malice. "I know the truth, Mia. You can't hide from me. I'll always be right here." Darius turned toward Mia, locking her gaze and whispering, "Stay focused on us. He's trying to manipulate you." Mia clenched her fists, recalling the strength she had found. "This is over, Mark. You're no longer a part of our lives." Mark's stare narrowed, realization dawning upon him. The battle lines had been drawn. "Don't think this is the end, I'll be watching you both," he replied with a thin smile, retreating slowly, defeated. "And I always get what I want." As Mark melted back into the crowd, a collective sigh of relief escaped Mia. The fear still lingered, but she felt something surge within her, a power she hadn't known she possessed. "Did we really just do that?" Mia murmured, looking at Darius, who nodded with pride twinkling in his eyes. "Together," he affirmed, squeezing her hand. "You faced him. You took control." With renewed strength, Mia turned to Ethan, who still played blissfully unaware of the storm clouds that had just come and gone. "You're right, this is our life. We're taking it back." In that moment, the sun broke through the overcast sky, illuminating their path forward. Slowly, piece by piece, Mia started to feel the shackles of her past break away. "You know what we need to do?" she asked Darius, excitement sparking in her voice. "What's that?" he replied, a grin spreading across his face. "Celebrate our victory today. Ice cream, bubbles, the whole 9 yards," she declared, her heart racing with joy. "Now you're talking." He laughed, and together they began to walk again, hand in hand, guided by love and hope. As they left the park, Mia took one last glance behind her, the weight of fear lifting with each step. She turned back, the future stretched ahead uncertain, yes, but now filled with possibility. For the first time in a long while, she could see the bright colors of her life shining through. And as the sun hung low in the sky, Mia knew they would face whatever came next together. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to the channel and not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let us know you loved this ending. Comment your reactions and feelings about Mia's journey. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support is everything, let's make it count.